We appreciate you being here. We have a very special guest, a public servant, somebody who has a very interesting career, who does a lot for small businesses. So it is my pleasure to welcome Secretary of State for North Carolina, Elaine Marshall, to the program. So thank you for being with us today. And you shared with us a bit about your background growing up in Maryland and some of those early memories. And I thought that would be a wonderful place to begin if you would share some of that with our audience.
I'd be happy to. Greetings, everybody. I did grow up in the state of Maryland. If you would have told me I'd spend my whole adult life in North Carolina, I'd have said, you're nuts, But my upbringing was in a small rural area outside of a very small town that didn't even have a stop sign. So that'll tell you the size. Everybody knew everybody. But we didn't know much in that community beyond, say, 20 miles from the family farm. My parents are very, very good people, but did not have much of a vision because they did not know much about the outside world. I give all credit to having good parents who allowed other folks to help guide them with me, and the 4-H program. I was very active in 4-H. It taught a lot of leadership, but more importantly, it opened my eyes about how things in the world were different. We learned parliamentary procedure, we learned public speaking, we learned record keeping. 4-H is a program that is no longer limited to farm youth, but it is for all youth. And it's building life skills around a fun topic. So without that outside encouragement, life would be very different for me. I also had an opportunity through 4-H to live in the country of Brazil for 7 months as an exchange student. That really opened my eyes to the struggles that a lot of people have and how we in America have opportunities, many opportunities that we don't take advantage of. Public school systems, health systems, like the community college system, have so much to offer. And they're kind of one of the best kept secrets around the state and the world. When I talk to international businesses that are thinking about coming to North Carolina, I promote the community colleges because of the resources that they have, the curriculum programs they have for certificates that somebody doesn't have to go for 2 years or longer. They can get that focused training. And for the second chance people, if you will, those who maybe didn't apply themselves or even get a high school degree, but also people that just didn't go on to any further education, but now realize and regret that they didn't. But the community colleges take those opportunities to a neighborhood near them, which is just wonderful. Dealing with international business recruitment, telling them that the community colleges are willing to train to their specifications is almost unbelievable to them. It's very hard for them to realize that that public asset is available. And so we have to take them to campuses and show them. Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about what led to that first decision and what office you ran for and what did you learn about yourself during that experience?
Well, I'd always been interested in politics. And again, it was due to 4-H. I enjoyed debate. I was actually the Maryland State 4-H president. So being a presiding officer was a skill that I had to develop in order to do that job. And so paying attention to the headlines. And one of the reasons I went to law school was because I felt that the laws were not fair and equitable to women. And so I went to law school and I represented a lot of women victims of domestic violence or troubled homes, troubled children, trying to counsel, because it is attorney and counselor at law, to counsel those folks to motivate them to change their lives or motivate them to help somebody else in their family situation, communicate better or make incremental improvements. I guess I was kind of like a clinical psychologist without a degree to get behaviors to change just a little bit so that you could see success and then go on to the next step. Ran for an office a public office here in North Carolina that I didn't achieve. And you learn more from your losses almost than you do from your wins, no matter how painful they are. The North Carolina Democratic Party had never nominated a woman for an executive statewide office. And they vetted a couple of us, and it ended up being a 6-person primary, 4 women and 2 men. which again, I won, but I led. But then there was a second place finisher who called for a runoff, and I won that handily. And I've been Secretary of State ever since. The truth is that public policy deserves a good analysis of the facts, no matter what the issue is. Second, have learned that has changed across the year is the partisanship. It wasn't that way when I started. It was not as overt. It was not as hard to deal with. I see talented people, women in particular, that I encourage to get into politics, and they are not interested. They are not interested in facing that kind of stuff. I just think we really need to encourage more good people to get into politics who are willing to debate the issues, but not throw all these bombs that people throw and gotchas that they try to get you in, and polarization that seems to be the coin of the realm these days over, social issues. First elected, I was the only woman at the highest, most important, prestigious table of discussion in the state, that being the Council of State. Now, since then and continuing to today, I do have colleagues. We are not of one mind. We have been of different political parties. But I think having the woman's perspective, whatever that might be, the woman's voice at the table is very, very important. There is research that shows that while there can be men who are very supportive of women's issues, that the women legislators themselves tend to put a higher priority on that very good family-related issue or child care issue or child development issue or healthcare issue than a male counterpart. And we establish our priorities based upon our life experiences.
That's right. That's right. And I know another interesting thing in terms of opportunity and challenge, we were speaking about a few weeks ago, the record number of new businesses that were created in the state of North Carolina during the pandemic. And what's interesting about that is it presents a lot of challenges for you.
We were physically closed down, but we certainly were on the job being productive, and I am so proud of my folks. Since June of 2020, all of a sudden we saw the business filings just blow up. I thought they might slow down, but the opposite was true. They accelerated. For calendar year 2021, to give you an additional perspective, in the first 6 months of this year, we have surpassed the 12-month total for every year except 2019 and 2020. But the innovative spirit is alive and well. Since we've experienced this, our document examiners have worked overtime. We asked some retired folks if they would come back and help, and they were delighted to be of service. I mean, my folks are truly public servants. They know what they do is so important for that business process to start, for people to develop a company, for people to get investors, or if they've got a patent or an innovative idea, for them to take off. So we are in the process of surveying the people who started new entities in May, June, and we'll be doing July as it comes up, to find out, are they still alive and well? Have they got employees? Have they had revenues? We've given them category searches from over 25,000 and on up. And I can tell you that we have several over in the month of June that have already replied, that have earnings of revenues of over $1 million. And we have a lot that have employed other people, which frequently is a surprise. We know nationally that a lot of these new enterprises are being started by women. And women tend to run businesses that they themselves are the only employee. And I certainly women will start businesses because they're tired of working for somebody else, and they want more control over their life and their destiny because of school issues, childcare issues, dependent health care, whether it's parents or children. So, but we are just in the beginning of this survey. It's very, very preliminary, but the trends are very, very interesting. Most of them are still in business. I think it's about 75%. I'm just excited to know that we're going to be getting more data on what's been happening out there. What really surprised me on this was one of the questions that we ask is, did you start this business out of necessity for lost job, or for you saw an opportunity? And about 75% are saying it was not because they lost a job. It was because they saw an opportunity to fill a gap, provide a service, create a product, whatever it might be. So we're looking forward to having more data.
As you stated, all of that has changed. And I think the data, what you're collecting is not only going to help the state of North Carolina, but could very well help nationally, develop a strategy of how might other states really follow the example of what you learn, and maybe do some similar fact checking and try to figure out how can we use all the resources at our disposal in the best way to help communities succeed, even rural ones, like where we started this conversation, because
Right.
Entrepreneurship, as you had mentioned before, is really important to rural communities. Well, I think you are just a wonderful advocate just for every person in our state. I'm so grateful for your service. Thank you, Secretary Marshall. If there's any final thought that you wanted to leave with us, we would love to just close out with that.
Well, it's just that I truly, truly appreciate the entrepreneurial spirit. I was a decorator. I didn't teach school forever and forever. I did other activities even before becoming a lawyer. I've been in retail. So I do know the personal ups and downs, and I hope that people will persevere. The economy right now is still fragile, but it is in a growth mode. We are very fortunate to be here in North Carolina with major companies making major announcements for great jobs here in this state. And there will be a lot of spin-offs, a lot of supply chain. So people need to put their thinking cap on and look at the skill set they have. And if they want to work for themselves, or they want to have other people in their organization, I can't think of a better time than ever. Interest rates are low, opportunities are high. So just work on a business plan. That's always a problem for some folks. They've got enthusiasm about something, but you got to work through the financial part of it, short range, long term. Marketing, it doesn't happen naturally. Go to somewhere where you can get help. Community college is one very excellent place. Also, some of the chambers of commerce put on seminars that are short, that give you marketing ideas and what have you. And if you don't have it in your community, push for it. There are those of us that can provide some skills and will come out. We have been doing it through Zoom, but hopefully we can come out and do it in person, which is a lot more fun. We want to be of assistance. We want to be of assistance. So you just have to call on us.
Thank you so much.